Hey, universe and mining family. Grab your shovels and your pickaxes. Welcome to the show. I'm Nemesis, and of course, I'm not your babysitter. Do your own research, but let's dig in. Yo, Crypto Nation and mining family, what's going on there? Yo! So, as you noticed, it's a little late now. Usually I do these on Wednesdays before work. It's kind of, I get up, try to be a little inspiring on the midweek thing, but I sit down in this seat, I fire up my computer, start setting stuff up, and I hear pop from behind me. What do I have here, guys? I have my fuse panel. And yeah, so when it popped, I've got my little light that's right here, that turns off. But I noticed that my PC stayed on, and I was like, okay. I hear my Antminers start spooling up. I'm like, did I lose internet? And I look up at my modem, and I'm like, well, my modem's on still, my PC's on, so the living room is still on. And then I look over here at the 1080 rig, guys. Yeah, I look up over at this, no lights. I was like, well, that's suspect. I was like, well, what the heck is going on here? So I looked at the extension cord that I had plugging into this because I had it running out in the living room, and it goes over to the same outlet that light's on. I'm like, oh, I remember now. Oh my god. So that outlet was part of the mining room. Even though it's in my living room, it's part of the mining room. I did a lot of construction in this house, but I didn't do everything. I did not touch everything. I did not redo everything. I don't have the money nor the time to be doing all of that. To redo this house the right way, I would just want to get a bulldozer and start over. I think Bob Vila could have built this house better than the hillbillies that drank while putting this together, while getting scrap wood from God knows where, because, I mean, there were certain load-bearing walls without a full-length 2x4 from going from floor to ceiling, guys. Could we talk about redneck ingenuity here? My God. The things that this house has taught me over the years of remodeling, and I hate it. But I've done a lot of work on it. But when I heard it go pop, I was like, oh no, the house strikes back again. Damn it. So I was like, well, wait a minute. I unplugged the rig off of it, flipped the breaker on, and I was like, ooh, wow, that breaker's a little warm, a little toasty. Now, that's where I keep telling people you don't want to go above that 80% threshold. It starts creating a toaster everywhere. Well, because I forgot that one outlet is part of that room, I got reminded by my outlet, my fuses going, nope, not today. So it reset that on me. Oh boy. So that was like that first bit, and then everything in there doesn't want to boot up right. I moved the 1080 outlet over there, boots up fine, like it's a champ, dude, no problems. My AMD rig doesn't want to boot up. It's getting hung up in the bootload error. My NVIDIA rig is having a freaking meltdown. You power it up, the fans kicked on and then just turned off. So I unplugged all the graphics cards out of the NVIDIA rig, fired it up with just the motherboard, fires up. I'm like, okay, maybe I got a dead riser. Because of the way the room powered off. Okay. So one by one, I plug everything in. It fires up. Don't get it. This house is just possessed. I swear, it hates me. Then it gets even better. Gets even better, guys. So I get to the AMD rig and I'm trying to fire this thing up. This thing wants to have an argument with me right before I need to leave out the house. I'm sitting here going, this rig is not going to beat me before work. I'm not going to have a bad day because of this rig. No. So I text my boss. I'm like, I'm going to be a little late. He's like, okay. I'm like, sweet. So now I can concentrate now. So I sit down with this rig and I pull all the cards out of this. Fire it up. It's booting up fine. Okay. So I put one card in there. Come over to Hive. It doesn't want to see it. I'm like, what the heck is going on? So I give it a few minutes. I'm like, well, maybe it's just being slow. Nope. Hive won't even communicate with it. Doesn't even know it exists at this point. I'm like, okay. So now I see that the AMD rig is booted up. It's technically running, but nothing's happening. So pull out the keyboard, mouse, and a monitor real quick for it. Turn it off, fire it, hook all that up to it, fire it back up. It's getting stuck in BIOS. So it's like the AMD boards, some of them have a dual BIOS feature on there so that you basically have compute mode and gaming mode. And it was getting hung up in there. So it had a feature to reset it. So I had it reset back to factory. It's almost like, I guess, like a clear CMOS, I guess. And then it booted right into Hive. Starts looking into it, so I start hooking everything back up, fire it all up, and working perfectly fine for a few moments, and then it, like, watchdog errors on me, so I'm like, this rig, I need to get, the AMD rig I have kind of sprawled out and laid down, and all this good stuff. Yeah, it is a bloody mess. So I need to get myself another rig frame just for the AMD rig. This way it looks a little cleaner. I like the stackable rig frames. They are really nice. I mean, if you're trying to scale up with them, and you know they're a little on the pricier side amongst things, when you can get a shelving unit and just zip tie everything to it if you want to just hang it like a meat locker, which I have. My first rig is purely done like, my first two rigs are purely done like that, so it's not that it's an issue to run it like that, guys. I just happen to like how clean it looks when it's on the stackable system. Just like how this one looks. I mean, look how clean that is, guys. Bam, check that out. Very, very clean. And talking about being clean, guys, let's see here. Let's show some of the hash rate on the rigs themselves. So we shall start off with this bad boy right here, guys. Yo. So that is this first card here is a Zotac amp edition. This one is dual fans on there. The Zotacs are not very well known for their cooling solutions, so they definitely need a little bit of help from airflow. They benefit greatly from airflow. I will get into that in a little bit. So on Vert, this bad boy gets 70.5 mega hash on that Vert coin, guys. So not bad. At about 170 watts. Woo, a little high up there, guys. Next one coming over will be the GTX 1080 Ti from Gigabyte. This is a smaller form factor, white edition. This one carries a 8 and a 6 pin for power, so it is low power, and because it's low power, it also has lower temps on it. Not bad for a 1080. This one gets 72.2 mega hash on that vert. Woo, not bad. Then we come up to this one is a MSI Armor Edition. This one is another one that does not have a very good cooling solution. It's got a low form factor cooler on there, which is 2 fans. So this one still throws down pretty decent, throwing down at 170 watts on there. This one's at 72.9 mega hash on that vert coin. So this, for being a hot card, this one's got some pretty good mega hash off of it on that vert coin. And then last, but of course not least, is the one that my man Crypto Mikkel likes. So this one is the MSI Duke Edition, triple fan, 45 Celsius, guys. This card stays super cool. This one throws down too. This one gets 75 mega hash on that vert coin, rolling out at 170 watts. Woo! So you can see a few different cards, and there's a wide variety of hash rates on there. So not all graphics cards are the same, and you can see that right from here. So if I was going to be picking a rig and I wanted to be all the same card, well, I would definitely be going after that MSI Duke Edition, considering that for the same wattage and the same overclocks, that card is just throwing down. My God, that card is hitting good. So I'll definitely be checking it out on other algorithms too. So I'm going to be checking it out on some of that Ethereum Classic with that ETH enlargement pill on there. See how well 4 cards hits over a 8 GPU rig. So I'll pit 4 1080s against 8 RX 580s. We'll see which one has a better mega hash to wattage ratio. Definitely stay tuned for that coming on up. If you guys want to see any other algorithms that are mineable being mined away on this, drop some comments in down below, and we'll see if I want to mine some of that input coin there. And last but not least, guys, so I've had a few people interested in seeing this. Oop. Not that though. That, of course, that was my Hive screen, but don't need that screen. I needed to be on this screen. All right, so bam, bam. So if you see here, I used to do Fridays. I used to do what the weekly intake was. It wasn't something that a lot of people cared about, so I stopped doing it. And I got a bunch of other things going on, like DCTV, which I do on Fridays and Saturdays. If you guys ain't checking it out, I don't know what you're doing. What are you doing on a Friday and Saturday night, but not watching us on Decentralized TV? But you can see what the 1070 and the 1070 Ti pulls in wattage, what it's going to cost you. If you were at 10 cents a kilowatt hour, you'd be like 24 cents a day is what it'll cost you to run. The E3 Antminer you're at about $1.80 a day in cost per E3 Antminer, but you're getting 200 mega hash off of it. So put that into comparison. They are pretty efficient for the mega hash that they get. But the big thing that I was showing on this screen was a lot of people are like, well, I've got AC unit, I'll just cool my rigs this way. That's not sustainable. I'm just telling you that. This is going to be the better way of doing things. So I myself used to do everything with my AC unit, and then I got like 20 GPUs and 2 ASICs. Just two ASICs, guys. And that bad boy was throwing out some heat out of that room. It felt like the AC wasn't even on, guys. You might as well have just unplugged it and shut the doors. And that's how hot it was in the mining room with the AC at full tilt, giving it everything it had. I would have to go to an industrial AC unit, 2 or 3 phase, 220 or 280 volt. Dude, that's not sustainable. This is. So check this out. This is not only sustainable, but it's scalable, guys. 100% scalable. And I can give you a couple of different options of ways of being able to take care of this. So you can either designate a room that you can close off that's got a couple of windows in it, or if you don't have a couple of windows, grab yourself a hydroponics tent and you can do the same stuff with one window. So above all, you need access to fresh air, a window or 2. For me, I've got 3 windows in the mining room, and in 2 of the windows I've got exhaust fans. The other window is intake. So intake, your window is going to be your bottleneck. So however big your opening is, and I do mean that, however big your opening is, depicts on how much air can move through it, or how much CFMs you get. So first off is that in your mining room or your mining tent, depending on how you're doing it, your mining shed, depending on how you want to do it, your mining garage, this all works the same way. So you're going to want to measure off the space that it's going to be inhabiting. So you're going to want the length times width times height, so you can get your square footage. This helps you so you can start to get some numbers. The big thing is I'm trying to get hard data. So the first thing that I wanted to know is how much air do I need to circulate in order to keep the rigs cool? Now, you can do it with AC and throw cold air at it, but you still have to circulate that air. So no matter what, you need to sit there and circulate the air. Now, for every 12,000 BTUs of heat, you need 400 CFMs of air movement directly on the heat source to keep it cool. That's just to keep a small little bubble cool around it. Okay, guys? So if you've got more heat being generated, you need more CFM. So at the time I had 20 graphics cards and a couple of ASICs. So I was generating 18,000 BTUs at the time. So minimum 800 CFMs of fan movement around it. That would have basically exchanged all the air around the units something like 42 times an hour. But that's very finite, just around the graphics cards or the ASICs themselves. I need to do this to the whole room, because if you guys think about it, you got to treat it like your car. These things have a radiator and a fan on the graphics card. Same thing with an A6. It's got a radiator and a fan. Your car is the same way. It's got a radiator and a fan. You see, I'm kind of got a little theme going on here, guys. So with your cars, you don't need fans if you can move the air fast enough through that radiator. So if you're doing 50 miles an hour going down the highway, 60 miles an hour down the highway, you don't need any fans on that radiator. There's enough airflow going through that radiator to react as if it had a fan on. Your fans only need to turn on, technically, on your car is when you come to a complete stop. Think about that. You come to a stop in your car, no more airflow. Now you need to make artificial airflow, so you turn a cooling fan on. So on your mining equipment, they've already got fans dialed in on them. We're already putting them to 60 to 80% on the fan, depending on how hot everything is, right, guys? So if you wanted to take the extra step and help keep everything in the room cool, you're going to sit there and apply some of the same principles of that high velocity moving air. So if you can move that air, not the air that's going around your graphics cards are not going to get heat saturated. So we're going to treat the graphics cards as if we're at a stoplight on a car, right, guys? So we need an extra fan on here. So for me, I've got two fans. Both fans are 4,000 CFMs. Now I know that combining them, you can combine them. I don't have any way to measure what's coming in through my window to actually know the true velocity. How many CFMs of air movement am I getting through my intake window? Because you can have 10,000 CFM fans blowing out, but if you're only getting 5,000 CFM max coming in, well, you're wasting your money over here. See the picture on that, guys? So I've got two 4,000 CFM fans. I did my measurement off of the low end. I probably can guarantee you that it's got a lot more than 4,000 CFMs. I've got two 4,000 CFM fans. It's probably pulling closer to about 5,000 to 6,000 CFMs, but I generated it at the 4,000 minimum. At 4,000 CFMs, I move all the air out of my room 194, 195 times an hour, guys. So what I'm doing is that I take the CFMs times it by 60, and then I divide it by the size of the room, and that's how many times an hour all the air gets exchanged out. Now, that's with a 4,000 CFM fan. Now, when you're sitting there and you move on probably about 20 cards, all you really needed was probably about, I think it was, whenever I did my math at one point, it was 95 times an hour would cool 20 cards off in the square footage that I have in my bedroom. Now, it's not a really big bedroom, but it's fairly large. So I sat there and basically maximized what I have going on, and I have gone way above its minimum. Now you might say, wow, you really got a lot of overkill on there. Well, you've got to take into account a hot day. The temperature outside has a measurable temperature. So anytime that you got heat being added into the air, you got to also add that into your mining room, because if it's 100 degrees outside and the air temp in the room is trying to be 105, and then your rigs are trying to live life at 150, you see that? You kind of get like the trifecta. So now you need to make sure that you're moving the air as fast as humanly possible. So that's why I went with the overkill on there. I know that on a 100-degree day, my room was 97 degrees on a 100-degree day. So that's why I do things the way I did them. If you guys got any other different ways, certainly drop some comments in down below. while you're down there, guys, definitely smash that lizardy like button, guys. Yo! And if you have any questions whatsoever over any of these topics, certainly drop some comments in down below. And if you haven't joined my Discord group, definitely drop. I have some links in down below. You can come right up into my Discord, ask some questions in there, be a part of my community and all that good stuff, and share these videos with other people, all that good stuff. And like always, I will see you all on the next one. Peace.